Lord, do you still want me to do this? As traders, there are seasons when we don't just question the market, we question our calling. The strategy made sense. The confirmation was there, but the result? Loss. Another drawdown, another moment you wonder if you've misunderstood God altogether. But what if you didn't? What if God is still in it, even in the red? Luke 5:4 says, "When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, 'Put out into deep water and let down the nets for a catch.'" Peter had tried all night. He was an expert in his craft, and yet nothing worked until the moment Jesus entered the boat. So today, I want to speak to the trader in you who is weary. Not because of inexperience, but because of discouragement. This is your season to try again. You followed the plan. You journaled. You prayed. And still, the account kept drawing down like a leaking well. You feel like you've reached the edge of wisdom, the edge of faith, the edge of belief. But friend, what if it's not the edge? What if it's the beginning? Peter had every reason to say no. He had already tried, already failed, already washed his nets. But something shifted when Jesus spoke. Luke 5:5 continues, "Master, we've worked hard all night and haven't caught anything. But because you say so, I will let down the nets." Those words, "but because you say so," are what separates worldly effort from spiritual breakthrough. It wasn't just Peter's skills that shifted the outcome. It was obedience, even after failure. Imagine a trader who backtests for months. They mark their charts, they set alarms, they sacrifice sleep, but the entries keep failing. Drawdown stretches like a shadow over their belief. They feel like quitting, like maybe they weren't called to this after all. But then, one morning, they open the word instead of the charts, and in the quiet, they hear a nudge. Try again. Not because the market changed, not because their edge evolved, but because God said so. God doesn't anoint every attempt, but he does anoint obedience. And in the same way he filled Peter's nets after a night of failure, he can fill your strategy after a season of loss. The difference? Jesus was in the boat. And sometimes God allows failure, not to punish you, but to teach you how to listen before launching. Picture this. A fisherman at the edge of a lake. He casts where it's shallow, comfortable, predictable, close to shore. But the voice of God says, "Go deeper." That's the part we fear most. Deeper trust, deeper faith, deeper surrender. But it's in the deep where the overflow is found. Not the shallow familiarity of yesterday's wins, but the faith-filled obedience of today's risk. As traders, the deep is that place where our comfort ends and God's command begins. Maybe your drawdown wasn't the end of your journey. Maybe it was just the pause before the voice of God speaks again. This isn't just about trying to trade again. It's about trying faith again, trying prayer again, trying purpose again. Luke 5:6 says, "When they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break." The overflow wasn't in the technique, it was in the timing of obedience. And the same is true for you. This is your season to try again. Not in your own strength, not in stubbornness or hustle, but with God in the boat. Let go of the fear of failure. Let go of the last loss. Let go of the voices that said, "You're not cut out for this." Because when he says, "Cast it again," there is provision in the deep. If you need prayer for clarity, for peace, and for a divine reset in your spirit, comment below. This isn't just about recovering your trades. It's about restoring your trust. You're not just rebuilding an account. You're rebuilding your faith. And this time, you won't be casting alone. God is in the boat. And because He's in it, it will work.